joined us this morning to honor our former chair, Ashley Thrift, for his years of dedicated service to Smart Start. This morning we have invited several individuals to speak about Ashley's exceptional service to children throughout North Carolina. We will briefly introduce them as before they speak. Governor Jim Hunt has served a record of 4 terms as the governor of North Carolina, from 1977 to 85, and again from 1993 to 2001. The citizens of North Carolina elected them as their governor. He's always been dedicated to improving the lives of North Carolina's children and to ensuring that every child receives a quality public education. Among his many successes in education was the creation of Smart Start. He signed into law in 1993. Smart Start has since become a model for the nation, and it has received the prestigious Innovations in American Government Award from the Ford Foundation, the John F. Kennedy School of Government at Harvard, and in the last decade of his governorship, the schools of North Carolina increased in NAEP scores more than any other state in America. In the 1980s, Governor Hunt and the Carnegie Corporation of New York created the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards, which he chaired for 10 years. In 2006, Governor Hunt was named one of the most influential people in American education, along with Microsoft Chairman Bill Gates and former Presidents George Bush and Bill Clinton. In addition, Governor Hunt continues to collaborate with governors across the U.S. as part of the State Leaders for Life Sciences initiative that he founded in 2008. Governor Hunt chairs the board of directors of 2 institutes which he founded. He tries to be impartial, but is the Governor James B. Hunt Jr. Institute for Educational Leadership and Policy at UNC Chapel Hill. You notice he has on blue and red. I commented on that when he came in. He also the Institute for Emerging Issues at NC State University is one of his initiatives. Governor Hunt, we are delighted to have you with us. Please come in.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. Well, Dennis, thank you for that. Those kind words. Some of you have heard me say before when I get over-introduced like that I wish my wife and mother could have been here to have heard it, Dennis. My wife would have enjoyed it and my mother would have believed it. Like all of you, I am privileged to get to be here today. And before I talk about my great friend and this great leader of North Carolina, I want to thank all of you who are giving such marvelous leadership for the future of our state and the model of America. I haven't kept up with every single person that's in place here, both staff and board members and all the rest, but I know most of you. In fact, I recruited a right good number of you. But I'm very proud of all of you. The idea that we had as we began, you all have carried through. It is more true than ever that the future of children depends on those earliest years more than anything else. A lot of other things have to come about, but that's the most important thing. And I thank you for all the work that Smart Start's doing at the state level, this wonderful board, the North Carolina Partnership, at the local level, all of you who are, of course, in your communities, and I could start with Sue Russell and go around here talking about the things that are happening locally because I've been out there in most of those places over the years. But I want to thank you for all that you're doing. And I want you to take heart, keep heart. Michael Blackwell, all the work you're doing with our religious leaders across the state and everything else. This continues to be the most important work we're doing. And we're doing a lot of important work. And so I thank all of you who are involved with it. Always proud to be here with my great friend, Senator Howard Lee, who chairs our education cabinet now, and who has done about everything you can do to lead education in North Carolina. Continues to do it. Howard Lee and I don't know how to quit. I mean, we just keep rolling along. Somebody said, why don't you retire? I said, because there's so much work left to do. And I know a little something about how to do it. A lot of you sort of share some of that. Now, we are here today. You've got business to tend to, or maybe you've already done it. But I want to say a few words about this great chairman and this wonderful leader. Ashley Thrift, of course, is a graduate of one of the great universities of North Carolina. You notice he doesn't have on a red jacket, but he does have on a red tie. That is red, isn't it? By the way, you help me tonight, I'll help you Saturday, okay? And we all better try to help poor old Duke playing Alabama. Although they're pretty good now. And we love them all, by the way. Ashley, and I'm not going to go through all the stuff he's done, but I want to hit 3 highlights. Maybe 4. He was one of the most effective leaders on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. to move this nation forward when he worked at a number of capacities, but particularly for Senator Fritz Hollings of South Carolina. And he was at the end chairman of the Commerce Committee. Now, Fritz Hollings was a powerful senator and a great man. A man who really built this country, helped build this country, including South Carolina and North Carolina. And Ashley Thrift was his right hand. There was nobody on Capitol Hill known and respected more than Ashley Thrift, and nobody who was more effective in getting things done. And he was there for years, and I don't know, how many years were you with there? 17 years, helping that leader of the Senate. And, you know, I never thought we'd get him back to North Carolina. He was so effective there. But we did. And, of course, 15 years ago, I asked him to go on this board and to be the chairman of it. And he's done it in a wonderful way. I might point out, by the way, that this isn't all he's done. I also asked him to lead public television in North Carolina. And he's done that in a great way. They might need you back, Ashley, from all I read. You know, you do so many things well. But he's really put his heart into this. I asked him to be the chairman, and I knew he'd be a good chairman. But even I never really thought he would get into this as much as he has. Now, by the way, I've been his law partner. He and I are fellow, admirers, and have worked a lot with countries around the world, including China, where he's an expert with great contacts. But Ashley has thrown himself into this, just like so many of you have around this table. And I could go ahead and I could name a lot of names. He believes in it. He really believes in it. His wife, of course, a college president. He lives up there in Forsyth County. Anybody else here from Forsyth County besides Ashley? Well, I can speak for Forsyth County. All these counties I've been in so many times, run in so many times, I know them inside and out. They've had one of the great partnerships in Forsyth County. And he's helped make that happen, but he's also learned from that. And he knows what we need to be doing. He isn't just down here in Raleigh kind of looking over things. He's at home in Forsyth County working, as you all are. And again, I know what's going on in other counties around this state. But he's been a wonderful leader. He is an inspiring leader. He's a marvelous speaker. But he knows what he's talking about, and he's continually read and learned the new research about children and the development of their brains, but also the development of everything else. He's been a wonderful leader for us with the legislature of North Carolina, with the business community of this state, working with public education in all kinds of ways, and higher education where our friends are doing such marvelous research and learning new things. Frankly, we've had to beg him to keep leading us. There were a few times he, at least his wife I'm sure, told him he needed to kind of retire and spend more time with her. In fact, she retired as college president. He kept going here. That must have took some doing. But he's just been so committed to it, and so dedicated, and so effective. And when you think about the people in this state over history who spent 15 years leading a big group, you don't find many college presidents that have ever served 15 years. You don't find many people who are, Jim, I don't even know how many preachers stay 15 years. But I know how effective you are and how solid you are in your church in Martin County. But it's amazing that he would come here and stay this long and work this hard and stay excited about it and interested in it every day. And he has done it. So actually I'm here as your friend, but as former governor and somebody who has spoken for the people of this state a few times over the years, I'm here to tell you how much we admire you, how much we appreciate you, how blessed we are to have had you all these years. We are just so fortunate, and we want to wish you the very best for the future, and we want you to stay right there at our backs. You know how to do it. You know how to get people to do things. And these people all, Carol, come in here. We were wondering where you were. I was just with Carol down in Lee County the other day when former Secretary Riley came to North Carolina, and we were looking at some great developments in education and so forth. But Ashley, we are deeply grateful to you. We admire you immensely. We are thankful for your life and for your leadership. And I want to tell you, and I know you'll hear from the governor, but I want to tell you the people of North Carolina have been served so well by you. The children of this state are so much better because of you. Just think, those children who were starting, well, the ones who were starting school are now in college from the time you took this over. The ones who were born are now 15 years old. And they're a whole lot better off, and North Carolina has a much brighter future because of your leadership of Smart Start. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Governor Hahn. Many of us have served with Smart Start with our next speaker, Karen Ponder. Karen is the former president of Smart Start, organization which she helped to create and managed for almost 15 years. During her presidency, Smart Start's National Technical Center was created to assist other states in developing comprehensive early childhood initiatives. Karen has been involved in all aspects of early care and education as a teacher, as a preschool director, a board member, a teacher trainer, and a policymaker. Formerly, she worked for the North Carolina Division of Child Development, overseeing programs for children with special needs, and also a partner in Child Enrichment Associates, where she trained teachers throughout the Southeast. She has delivered numerous seminars and workshops and presentations to 7 state legislators and the National Governors Association. She's testified before the U.S. congressional committees and has presented at a national summit on America's children. Karen continues to work with Smart Start as an early childhood consultant. Karen?
What a pleasure to be here. I feel like I'm home without the jobs to do. It's a good feeling, Stephanie. Thank you very much. It's such a privilege for me to be here to pay tribute to Ashley Thrift. Ashley and I worked together from the very beginning of Smart Start. I was at the division, he was a board member, and then the chair at Forsyth Partnership, and then I came here and he came here, and we kept on going. As many of you recall, we had some tough times during those years, and keeping the support when we had the foes working against us out there, working with some challenges sometimes at the local level, living through Governor Hunt's transition, coming back from audit findings that sort of fell to us, and then convincing the General Assembly that Smart Start wasn't a short-term project. Working closely with Ashley on all of these, I learned a lot about him, and he taught me many lessons. I want to mention 4 of them. The first one is you have to have real passion to advance a movement for young children. Ashley has the most passion for this work of anybody I've ever known, and he has a very special place in his heart for vulnerable young children. And he never ever turned down an opportunity to do what he could do to improve their status and outcomes. Whether it was going door to door at the legislature, trying to persuade every legislator to do the right thing, visiting a local partnership and inspiring them to work even harder than they were already working, making a business connection to raise funds, or even flying to another state if he was needed there to motivate and get their business leaders and legislature on board. Ashley did it all with strong passion and determination to give every child the best opportunity possible. The second lesson I learned was that it takes personal dedication, not a need for the limelight, to get things done for children. Ashley is a dedicated advocate. He literally traveled multiple times to all counties in this state whenever he was invited, and sometimes when he wasn't, to engage advocates, to motivate and inspire boards, and to educate the public. He never counted the cost. The dedication was unbridled. The third lesson is that you have to stick by your principles and never ever give up to achieve the highest goals. Ashley, to put it mildly, is unrelenting and unyielding in his determination to make a difference. Sometimes before we were going over to meet with legislators, Clark Plexico and I would get him upstairs and we'd say, "Now Ashley, let's take a lower key approach with this person." Well, we were just wasting our breath. He felt such an urgency about this work and used his words and stories to bring policymakers and advocates along with him. And he always stood on principle, even when it was tough. Ashley practiced what he preached. The fourth lesson is that when your mission is important and your goals are high, it takes hard work to reach them. Ashley Thrift is not afraid to roll up his sleeves and work hard. During several periods of particular challenge, he made tours to all the local partnerships, and we would set up the events, make sure people were invited and everybody was on board, but that was just the start for Ashley. He would call the local newspaper and set up a meeting with the editor or the editorial board. Then he would schedule face-to-face meetings with key business leaders. And he would invite reporters to come to the event, and he'd be prepared with several really good quotes and current information to put in their hands. He would do whatever was needed and seemed to never get tired, even though the rest of us were falling out. He used to say that it was a good thing his real work was international trade law, because he could do his work in China all night and work for Smart Start all day. And there's no doubt that he did just that. Ashley, it was a true privilege to have the opportunity to work with you on behalf of North Carolina's young children. I've never known a stronger or more committed individual than you. And there's no doubt in my mind that your dedication and commitment have led us to this place today. Thank you so much, and keep on going.
Thank you, Karen. I know Ashley appreciates you being here, but it is good to see you back at the table as well. As we planned the activities for today, I felt that it would be especially good to have someone from our board of directors who has served with Ashley on the Smart Start board to represent the board in speaking today. Dr. Michael Blackwell is one of our longest tenured board members, having been appointed by Governor Hunt in 1997. Dr. Blackwell, will you represent the board now?
All right, you clap for the governor and you clap for Karen. Thank you so much. In late 1996, Governor Hunt asked Ashley Thrift to check me out to see if I would pass muster as one of his recruits to the NCPC board. And of course, Ashley would do anything that Governor Hunt asked him to do, so he came to Thomasville and spent the better part of a day at one of the Baptist Children's Homes, now 5-star early education centers. The highlight of that visit, and one that Ashley still remembers, is a visit with a little boy named Charlie. Charlie had just turned 4 years of age. He had an exuberant personality, an absolutely radiant smile, and was an inspiration to all who came in his wake. Little Charlie also had just one arm and no legs, and had to push himself along on a cart. Now, you will hear today a lot of words that are applied to Ashley Thrift. Visionary, passionate, caregiver, hardworking, dynamic. But that day, the image that will always stay with me is Ashley Thrift on the floor with little Charlie. No pretense, no politics, no agenda. Just this man captivated by a little boy who could well have been the poster child for Smart Start. Ashley, I have been asked to express thanks on behalf of a grateful board of directors. We thank you for those keen political skills. Now, Ashley Thrift has never met a legislator he didn't like. True, he likes some more than others, but he would be one to go down to Jones Street, scale the walls, stand in the gap, lift high the royal banner. He was a man who I believe when it came to Smart Start had no fear. Secondly, the board thanks you for your practical knowledge. I'm not the only board member who sometimes would sit here absolutely amazed at the incredible knowledge you displayed over the absolute intricacies of Smart Start. Even the minutest detail didn't escape your attention. Cutting your teeth on the Forsyth Partnership and then visiting every single partnership in North Carolina gave you an insight and a knowledge that would be the envy of any board chair, anywhere, at any time. Simply amazing. Thirdly, the board thanks you for your persuasive abilities. Chairing this board was an honor. Ashley felt that it was a great honor to be asked by his friend and mentor, Governor Hunt, to chair this board. It was an honor, but it was not an honorary position. Ashley was hands-on, in the mix, setting the example with evangelistic zeal, never afraid, never ever afraid to express your own personal opinion. Never ever afraid to express your own personal opinion. You were one who led this board sometimes to make a hard decision or to reach graceful consensus. I sum up your leadership style as one of pure determination and the relentless pursuit of excellence. God bless you, my friend, and thank you from the board of directors that you have led with courage, compassion, and conviction. You're a good man, Ashley Thrift.
Thank you so much, Dr. Blackwell. I knew he would do an eloquent job of representing us and speaking for our board, and I think you can agree with me, he did, and we thank you for that, Dr. Blackwell. We are extremely pleased to have Ashley's wife, Julianne, with us today. Julianne has always been supportive of Ashley's work with Smart Start. A number of years ago, she and members of Ashley's family created the Ashley O. Thrift Endowment for Smart Start. This endowment recognizes an outstanding board chair annually, and it also presents a monetary gift to that outstanding board member's partnership. Julianne, we thank you for your exceptional support and encouragement through the years. Ashley, you were essentially a pioneer in helping to launch Smart Start. Passionate and as some have said, relentless, in lobbying of legislators and business leaders, working to raise millions of private and public dollars through the years to strengthen early childhood education in North Carolina. And on behalf of the young children of North Carolina, we thank you for those many years of dedicated and tireless service, and especially for the last 15 years as board chair. Will you join me at the podium? As a token of our appreciation for making an extraordinary difference in the lives of young children and their families throughout North Carolina, we present to you a book entitled, I Can Make a Difference. Inside, the bookplate reads, presented to Ashley Thrift by the Board of Directors of the North Carolina Partnership for Children, Incorporated. Thank you for your dedicated leadership and tireless service as chair of the board, and for making an extraordinary difference in the lives of young children and their families throughout North Carolina in the date 1993 through 2010. Many of us on the board wanted to do just a little something more. Now, we know that you're going to enjoy this book simply because it's a wonderful children's book, and we know you have a delightful young grandson. Those of us who are grandparents can certainly relate to that. Any other book would never have been appropriate. The children's book will work. But we wanted to do a little something more because of your dedication to Smart Start. And one of the best ways that we felt that we could honor your service was to give a contribution to the Ashley O. Thrift Endowment. So a number of us have done that, and we found a picture that you will probably enjoy. If we had known about the situation with Dr. Blackwell, if we could have found that little boy back then, a picture of him, that would have been super. But we found a picture of you from a number of years ago. Yeah, maybe by the color of the hair. But we hope you'll enjoy that, and we have listed there the names of those of you who generously contributed, and I thank you for that, to the endowment. This endowment will be opened up, and others will be encouraged to do this, and we hope to announce that at the national conference in May. But thank you for your service. I have been serving as vice chair and acting chair for just the last couple of months. I've gotten just a very small taste of it, as you would say, and this is a real job, and I believe you pay to serve. So thank you again. I've learned a lot from you and have enjoyed working with you as well as other members of the board. Originally, our governor, Beverly Perdue, had planned to be with us. However, her staff informed us last week that she had a scheduling conflict, and I don't know if it had something to do with our Secretary of Education, Duncan, being in town, at least yesterday and maybe even through today. But we are very pleased to have representing us from the Office of the Governor, Senator Howard Lee. Many of you have known Senator Lee for a number of years. He is now the Executive Director of North Carolina's Education Cabinet, and we recognize Senator Lee at this time for a presentation on behalf of Governor Perdue.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Tannis. It's a privilege for me to come and represent Governor Perdue in making this presentation. I had a call from her this morning, and we talked about my appearance here and how she wanted me to express to you her deep and committed support to carrying on the work of the North Carolina Partnership for Children and for Smart Start, and that she regrets very much her conflict that prevents her from being here and being a part of this. But I think all of you know that our governor has demonstrated beyond a shadow of a doubt a strong commitment to education and to the support of early childhood development. And I'm convinced, and I know you all know, that will be carried through the years during her term in office as we enhance and focus more on our work. As I said, I got a telephone call from her this morning, which is strange, because I never ever get telephone calls from her except in cases of urgency. I can't say that about another governor with whom I work. It was such a privilege to always hear from Governor Hunt that it's strange to not hear from Governor Perdue. And sometimes Governor Hunt's calls will come at 2 o'clock in the morning. Actually, you know that, don't you? We know there's not a hard-working person, a person who works harder than Jim Hunt in whatever he does. The advantage of living for a long period of time is that you can say, I was a part of history. And I was a part of history in sitting in the room when Governor Hunt called together a group of legislators who were rambunctious and resistant to initiating another new program. And I recall some of the strong language that was used about another waste of money and another project that would suck up budgetary appropriations. Well, Governor Hunt called this meeting in the appropriations room, and by the time we finished, everybody was a convert. Now, going through the years, we had to, some of us, carry out the decisions for appropriating money. And in the rooms when we were making the hard decisions, there were 2 thoughts that were always on the table. That we had to appropriate the money because we were either going to get a visit from Ashley Thrift or a call from Jim Hunt. And we didn't want either one. And so if you go back and look at the history of appropriations on Smart Start, you'll find that the appropriations were quite lenient at that time and quite generous. But there's no hard-working person than Ashley. And someday historians will sit to write about these times. They will have a lot to write about. But the name synonymous with North Carolina Partnership for Children and Smart Start will be Ashley Thrift. I was driving over and thinking this morning, it's strange not to recognize that will not be the case, but Ashley, I want to leave one other thought with you, that you're not free because you're retiring, and you will be called upon to continue to support, as I am, this organization from time to time, and with the delight you'll do that. But never forget that once you become a disciple of Jim Hunt, you're committed for life. And he is committed to Smart Start. He is committed to the North Carolina Partnership for Children. Governor Perdue is committed because she's also, like me, one of the disciples of this man and what he's meant. But you are committed, and without you, I'm convinced we would probably not have the kind of success we're enjoying today with Smart Start and North Carolina Partnership for Children. And then finally, I know this is not about me. I'm here to represent the governor, but some of us politicians love to take liberty. When you touch a rock, you're touching history. Think how long it took that rock to become a rock. When you touch a flower, you're touching the present. Think what a short life that flower has, but more importantly, how fragile that flower is. But when you touch a child, you're touching the future. And your goal is to create within that child the strength of the rock, but the softness and the fragrance of the flower. Ashley, you have touched children, and in so doing, you have touched the future. And there will be no greater moment than someday when you meet one of those children in a place and they come up to you and say, "Thank you for giving me a new crack at life." And so, on behalf of Governor Beverly Eves Perdue, the citizens of the state of North Carolina, and all of us who love the North Carolina Partnership for Children and Smart Start, I'm delighted to present you with, I think, your second longleaf pine. I believe you had one before, but this is a great one, and I'm delighted to be the one to hand it to you. Ashley, thank you for all you've done.
Well, thank you, and thank you very much. As I was coming over here today, I was trying to settle my mind on what I'd actually have to say, and thanks for all the members of the board who served with me in all these years. And then after hearing these wonderful speakers today and their exuberance and thought, and it brought back so many good memories of things that we have done together, challenges that we have faced and overcome. But the truth of the matter is, it is what we have been able to accomplish for all these years that has truly made a difference in the lives of young children, their families. And let's take it a step further ourselves. As the father, now a grandfather of a 18-month-old grandchild who spent most of August with this young man, I can tell you, and it took three of us, three grandparents, to take care of him while his parents went away on a trip. There are people all over this state that have the same love and appreciation for their children. They have the same desire and aspirations for their children that these three grandparents have for this little grandchild. And some might not have the resources, some might not have the knowledge, but they have the spirit that this child will somehow be something much better than they are. And the thing that's given me great hope after traveling around our state, seeing a lot of these young children and seeing the dedicated people that are working on their behalf, is that we can truly make a difference. I came into this opportunity that Governor Hunt gave me with a great deal of curiosity, because I had worked in Washington for a lot of programs that Senator Hollings was very much involved with, to try to maintain the funding. I'd always seen things in the sort of the global or the macro state where you try to get another $200 million for the WIC program, another $800 million for Title I for children and special needs and things like that, but I never saw the children. And the thing that has excited me most about this job, and I know you've heard me say it before, is that I actually got to see the child actually receive the contribution that the taxpayers of North Carolina have made to his or her future. And that's been a wonderful thing. And I know that the 15 years, or I guess a little bit longer than that, if you count my term as chair of the Forsyth Partnership, the time that I've spent with this, I just have learned so much. But it's been my association with the members of this board and the local boards that have truly enlarged my capacity to be a fuller individual, a fuller person. And that's been a unique thing. And I can tell you that I'm pretty much of a person without great pretensions, but what you all have done today and the words said here today mean so very, very much for me that I'm truly groping for the words to express my love and appreciation to each and every one of you, and through you to people across the state that I've met. It's the best group of people in our state, the people that are trying to do the good work here, and it's that dedicated teacher who might not get paid too much money, but who is. And I look at Sue and I know that that person has taken advantage of the TEACH program, the wages program, and the community colleges and the effort they've made to provide the training and the collaborative process we put through and the transparency we have and the accountability that we have to make sure that all the money we spend is spent wisely and spent well. But the truth is, and this is uncontroverted, the truth is that what we have done is making a big, big difference. People from other states wouldn't try to copy us and try to take this home to their children and try to make a better time in their life. We live in a very, very difficult time. And we live in an uncertain time. Our economic system is under attack. Our political system is in disarray. Our belief and support and confidence in the future is not what it should be. But I am an eternal optimist because I think the future will be better because of the effort that we've made for children. We'll have smarter, more capable children to grow up to be more attentive and participating adults and people that will take their responsibilities seriously and perform them well. And Howard, you know, I have to remember when I went to see Howard Lee, and my wife knew Howard Lee from some activities, and I knew him from the history books. And he was a state senator, and I was going to go in and see him, and he'd been right on everything we'd ever done. So Karen and I went in and knocked on the door, and I said, Senator Lee, I want to thank you for your support for Smart Start. And he said, well, you know, I'm with you, and you don't need to come around and spend time with me and everything. No, I said, I want to thank you, and I want to ask for your continued support. And because I think that's what each and every one of us have to do. Don't forget about our friends. Make sure they're with us. And if people don't know and understand what we're doing, then make a few converts. And if people are on the other side, then see who you can win over because of your dedication and work. Because that's the group we want to squeeze down so there is no opposition and that you'll have a chance to really be supported well in the future. So to each and every one of you, thank you very much for the opportunity that you've given me to serve. And thank you again on behalf of everybody in North Carolina and all the Smart Start family across the state for the things that we have been able to do together. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And now it's time for our lunch. And Stephanie, if you will begin to escort our guests, Governor Hunt and Ashley and Senator Lee and Julianne and Karen, if you would escort them now to the lobby. And then we're going to follow them, and we will reconvene for our business session at 1:05. Okay? If I said 1:03, would that make it easier? I have a horrible reputation. It's okay. 1:05. Thank you. Enjoy your luncheon.